Trying to get a few more people in here. Yeah, we're just going to wait a minute until we can get a couple more people in here. Trying to get Bo in here. I don't think Jared's going to be able to make it. Well, there's Bo. Okay. Jared's probably not going to be joining us. I'm going to see if anybody else wants to join.
No worries. Bruber's podcast.
Jared just kind of pulled out at the last minute, and we were going to talk about the best stuff from 2018.
Aw.
He had to go back to work or something. Let's see if anybody else is wanting to join.
We're live right now, right?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
It's going to be just a minute
Nice.
till we really get going. Mainly just doing this because I got a new mic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the one that you're wearing right now?
No, this is just the monitor.
Okay, I see.
Look at this.
Oh, wow. Perfect.
Just flexing the Blue Yeti. Anybody watching? No? Okay. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What's going on, guys? It's me. It is your boy PAT here, and here is Bo. Two of the three men here of the Bruber's podcast here. We haven't done this in a very long time. Jared's probably not going to be able to make it today. Need to go back to work. You know, that kind of deal.
It's been a couple years since the last Bruber's podcast.
It has been a couple years. It's been a really long time. I'm going to look at the WWE news. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Have you been keeping up with anything that's been going on?
Yeah, I mean, I've just been kind of watching casually.
Yeah.
I'm not too invested in Raw right now, but I bet.
Did you watch Raw 2 weeks ago or last week?
No.
They're planning on shaking up a bunch of things and.
Oh yeah, I know all about it. Like I watch YouTube highlights, but I don't really
Okay.
watch it.
So basically, the McMahons are in control of Raw again. They're saying they're going to make Raw great again, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Do you buy it?
No.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really think anybody's buying it. What if they did? If they do it, that'd be awesome. I want them to prove everybody wrong, but I don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think it's going to ramp up, of course, since it's WrestleMania, and
That's true. It always does.
it's par for the course. But
Another thing to also take into account that maybe it is for real is the fact that they're getting a deal with Fox.
Uh-huh.
And that's going to be a big, big deal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that the real test will be like next year, June or July, whether it's like been revamped, and if not, then the shake. Because WrestleMania, the weeks leading up to that, I'm sure it'll be really perfectly good.
Well, WrestleMania season's usually really good, so it should be fine around there. But the real test, like you said, is going to be around June and July-ish, around SummerSlam time. I think the reason they're doing it is because of the Fox deal, and that's a $1 billion deal right there.
Mm-hmm.
And Fox has been saying they might, I don't know if they've said it necessarily, but they could pull out of the deal if WWE doesn't, get their crap together. And they wouldn't want to lose on that big money opportunity. So, yeah, they're probably going to try to get their stuff together.
Interesting. I didn't know that they could go back and, retroactively.
They probably could.
Yeah, I don't really know the terms of it, but that's interesting.
I hope. Have you seen all of the speculation on what Fox is going to do with SmackDown?
Yeah, I've heard that they want to make it more sports-like, so they want to move Rousey to SmackDown. Maybe call up, I don't know, Shayna Baszler or somebody. Just give it a more MMA type of sports feel.
I think that would honestly be really cool. I'm actually really excited for SmackDown in October next year. I think it's gonna be some good stuff.
Yeah, and I mean,
I want to see it as a more treated as if taken seriously.
Definitely. I mean, I think SmackDown's doing right now, but
yeah, SmackDown's doing pretty good right now. SmackDown is, you can make an argument, the best show in WWE besides NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Raw is really the problem right now, but I think the Raw that they did the shakeup stuff on was better than the Raws have been in the last few months, because Raw's really been bad. Raw's always bad, but it's worse than usual.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the ratings have been dipping. I mean, it's hard to invest yourself for 3 straight hours, and
that's right.
I don't know, Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley. Not to say that they aren't, good.
When Baron Corbin's taking up a third of the Raw time, you've got an issue.
Yeah.
I like Baron Corbin, but when he's taking up a lot of that TV time, when that TV time could be spread evenly around, there's a problem.
Exactly. And I don't know if, anybody can really be on a screen for 1 hour, minus, I don't know, maybe Steve Austin or somebody.
That's right. Yeah.
Continue to engage people.
Definitely. Other than, Raw, I watched a little bit of it this past week. It sucked, but it's a Christmas episode, so I'm going to give them a pass there. Because nobody really watches the Christmas episodes. Yeah. The Christmas episodes usually suck, so.
Yeah, nothing like the Claus brawl or whatever, just bomb somebody through a present. Always fun.
Last year's I feel was the only decent one, but that was only because Raw and SmackDown were actually live on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day and the day after. Last year, for whatever reason, they decided to do Raw live instead of having them tape it the week before so they can go home to their families or whatever. And that sucked, but the bright side was we got a couple pretty solid episodes of wrestling TV out of it, so.
Mm-hmm.
So last year they did the big main event with Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins versus The Bar, and Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins won the tag titles, so. Jason Jordan winning a title, no matter what people say about him, it's a win for me.
Can't argue Kurt Angle's son, am I right?
Dad! God. Did you see who's all been being called up and within the coming weeks?
Yeah, you got EC3, Lars Sullivan, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, lots of people. Yeah, pretty cool. Especially, I'm really excited for EC3. I think he could.
Yeah, I'm excited for EC3 too. I hope he goes to I feel SmackDown would be a better fit for him. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like he'd be a bigger star on SmackDown. However, they're probably if they bring him up as a heel, they've already got Dana Bryan as a heel now. They're slowly turning AJ Styles heel. It looks like if you saw from SmackDown this past week.
Interesting.
They've got a couple other things going. Samoa Joe's still on there. I don't know. If they bring up EC3 as a babyface, that should be fine because he's a babyface on NXT now. But
Yeah,
I feel like he's better. I feel like he's better off as a bad guy.
I agree. And like, you're also gonna have to have Lars Sullivan as a heel because, I mean, I just feel like he's much more fitting for that role.
Oh gosh, Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
Did you see all like the fake news articles that were going out about Lars Sullivan over the past like number of weeks?
Oh yeah, I have. Those are so controversial. Where there's like all this alleged heat backstage about all these like raunchy comments he made, or like just
We were reading those. We're pretty sure they're not real at all because nothing's happened. But reading those was some of the most entertaining stuff. It was so entertaining to see what stuff was going to come up next. Like one day there was like Lars Sullivan says that KFC is for lower class citizens.
I remember that.
Then the next day it was like ROH is a bunch of vanilla midgets. A bunch of other crap that was going on too.
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows what was true, what was false, if any of it was true.
Yeah, that was some crazy stuff. Lacey Evans should be a good call up no matter where they put her.
Mm-hmm.
I think she should probably go to Raw just because there's not really a lot of heels on Raw right now. There's Alexa who's out. There's Nia Jax who's Nia Jax. There's the Riot Squad who's not too bad. Other than that, there's not much. So
Yeah.
Lacey Evans should probably go to Raw. Lacey Evans is really good. Have you ever seen any of her work?
No, I don't really know too much about her, actually, just a little bit.
Her gimmick is she's the lady of NXT and she's like bringing class and stuff. She's a bad guy.
Interesting.
If you saw who it was, you might know who I was talking about. But
yeah, I know her, but not well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but like Nikki Cross, I'm excited for it, and I think she should go to.
Nikki Cross should definitely go to SmackDown.
Just because obviously right now, kind of a superior division right now.
Well, not to mention Sanity's on there too.
Oh, very true. Yeah, so she could reunite, and I'd like to see that. Get more.
I feel like that would be the best thing for Sanity because Sanity hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Since they've been on SmackDown, which sucks, but they've done nothing.
I can't stand those disappointing call-ups. Like, I think, honestly, like, the Revival was somewhat of a disappointing call-up. Just a bunch of the Vaudevillains.
Vaudevillains was one of the most disappointing call-ups. It's like, oh, man, these guys are going to be so good on main roster. A year later, Simon Gotch gets cut.
Yeah, so...
Aiden English was doing good for himself for a little while there, though.
He was proclaiming Rusev Day.
Rusev Day, but Rusev Day's no more, so...
How sad.
Rusev's U.S. champ... They should have... Did you see Rusev winning the U.S. championship?
Yeah, I did.
Well, they should have had him win it like 6 months ago when Rusev Day was like white hot.
Yeah, that would have been
like perfect. It was way, way too late for it.
I agree.
Like, I'm happy for him. Hell yeah, I'd go Rusev, but it's just way too late for him to like get any any momentum off of it because he was already white hot earlier in the year with the Rusev Day stuff. That was some of the best stuff of the year.
Yeah, I think that the U.S. title's kind of back in flux now.
The U.S. title is back to where it was before John Cena grabbed it in like 2015.
Yeah,
like, it has almost no prestige left at this point.
The whole John Cena and Rusev saga for the U.S. title, both John Cena and Rusev were, really good champs. Brought notoriety to the belt. But yeah, I mean, lately, has Nakamura really even been on SmackDown? That's the thing.
I don't blame Nakamura for it.
Oh, no.
Like, part of it might be him, but he just was not really on TV, so he couldn't really, like, do anything with it.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
He had to his credit, he had a great match with Seth Rollins at Survivor Series. Have you watched that match yet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That match was really good.
Yeah, I like Survivor. I thought the Lesnar-Bryan match also, by the way.
Lesnar and Bryan was great. I thought they did that. That was excellent.
Though, of course, I wish Daniel Bryan went over because wouldn't that have been
Oh, yeah, definitely. But of course, they're not going to put Daniel Bryan over with Brock Lesnar. I'm just
Yeah,
happy to have Daniel Bryan as champion at this point.
absolutely. Also, there's some there's rumor that Brock Lesnar is making $100,000 per TV appearance and 5,000 per pay per view. So yeah, I guess when you have to pay this guy $500,000 for every match he wrestles, yeah, I guess you do want to protect him.
Yeah. Did you ever watch any of Crown Jewel, by the way?
I did. I watched that whole thing live.
That was the worst pay-per-view.
You know, here's an unpopular opinion. Like, I realized like that the booking decisions were bad, but I was actually entertained by it. Like, I thought it was actually really entertaining. But yeah, I mean, it's probably just like me getting a cheap pop out of like D-Generation X or like Undertaker. Or, like,
I honestly was not like that's not the match they should have had Shawn Michaels come back to, but I understand because they probably paid him a crap ton of money for it.
mm-hmm.
So the Saudi Arabian government paid them a ton of money for it anyways, so I guess might as well take the money.
That's another thing about it. It's just the whole controversy.
Yeah, I thought the show was probably the worst pay-per-view I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the worst pay-per-view I'd probably say this year was Backlash.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I would go Crown Jewel for sure. Like Backlash was like this. That was the one match that was good with Seth Rollins and Miz. Have you seen that match?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that was a great match. And the rest of the card was really bad.
Absolutely, yeah. I thought pay-per-view just had TLC. That was pretty good card.
TLC I thought was a pretty solid show.
Like, of course, the women's triple threat I thought was awesome.
That was an excellent match.
Plus, with the shock finish, kind of with Asuka winning and Rousey interfering. And,
that was pretty cool.
And all that. And then Bryan Styles also.
Bryan Styles I thought was really good. A lot of the problems with the pay-per-view, Jared and I have argued about this a million times, but the lack of stipulations.
That's fair.
My argument is that you don't need stipulations in order for a match to be good. Because there's so many matches that I've seen without stipulations that are some of my favorite matches of all time. But in some matches, they could have definitely benefited from at least having something.
Yeah,
like Seth and Dean, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I watched all of TLC like front to back.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean that is the problem, right? Because if you oversaturate the stipulations.
Now from that I can see where you're coming from there, but I mean I usually don't care either way. I'm cool with it. They have something in there. If they don't, that's fine. Jared was complaining the entire time because most of the matches didn't have them, but I always just try to give the match a chance. But that Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose match was just not good.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of like after Bryan Styles, I just kind of toned out for a bit. Like,
yeah. Rollins and Dean was just not a good match. It was definitely their worst match to date. Like they had all those matches in 2014 that were barn burners for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
This match was nothing compared to those.
Yeah, it was pretty much the women's match that got me reinvested. And
the women's match, that was the match. Yeah, that was definitely match of the night for sure. The women this year, the last couple of years, they've been trying to push this whole women's revolution thing. I feel like this year's really the year that made a breakout.
Yeah, I think it's, because in previous years it almost felt a little forced. It felt, if they were just trying to push an idea without really instituting storylines. But now I think they're natural. The women's are really gravitating towards the top. I remember Triple H, I think in a recent interview, said that the women's matches or women's segments are often some of the highest rated segments on Raw and SmackDown. So,
because Becky Lynch is probably the hottest thing going in WWE. She has been for the past couple of months.
Absolutely, and Rousey's been
good too.
Yeah. So when you got Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, I mean, those
You got Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, you're pretty much set.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch Ronda and Charlotte?
Yeah, that was great too. I really liked
That match was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were just going at it. They were like killing each other.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying their match of the year is Becky Lynch and Charlotte from Evolution. Have you watched that match yet?
Yes, that's also amazing.
That match was awesome.
Yeah.
I think Meltzer rated it. It's like the highest rated match he's ever had for a women's match on main roster.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. I mean,
your video. Oh, there it is. But
I mean, I would still put like, say, Sasha Bailey from NXT Takeover above
I
it.
would too. I would too.
But I mean, it's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Saying Sasha Bailey's better. Becky and Charlotte was still.
Did you hear the rumors about the people who might be leaving WWE within the coming months?
No, does it have to do with AEW? I know AEW is more of a one
Maybe.
or two down the road type of deal, but who are you thinking about?
Shinsuke might be, because in March his contract expires and they don't know if they're talking about re-signing.
That's interesting. Maybe that could deal with U.S. title loss. Who knows?
Yeah. Andrade Cien almost might be another one if they doesn't get a push anytime soon.
That's interesting.
I forget who else was involved in that conversation, but it might have been Gallows and Anderson too. But I hope they don't leave. I hope none of them leave. I want them to get pushes, but if they want to leave, and I mean, I can't stop them from leaving. Of course, if they want to leave and go do something, I think it's going to make them better off. They're going to be better off without it. Then sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting to see generally how people go after they leave WWE, because you have some Cody Rhodes or, who's just absolutely like redefining his career. But then you have people who you just don't hear about, or, I've even heard of some wrestlers who are fairly, notable in the last couple of years, like not even being able to get independent dates.
Right.
Which is pretty crazy. But I guess with Shinsuke and Gallows and Anderson, that they're going to have a big spot waiting for them at a place like New Japan.
Right, right.
Where they left off, so.
Because they signed all of them at the same time along with AJ Styles. Like, wow. Mm-hmm. There goes 3 of your 4 signings right there, but they'll probably just go right back to New Japan and pick up where they left off.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, New Japan's really making a push into the American market.
That's right.
If you have a face like Shinsuke Nakamura, that only appeals more to the mainstream American market, or even, the more niche hardcore American market.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if there's any other news going on.
Definitely. And speaking of that, I'm going to try maybe to go to WrestleMania this year. We'll see.
Are you sure?
Yeah, just because I'll be in the area, so.
It's worth a shot. If you can at least try to go to NXT TakeOver, then that would be cool.
That would be. And there's actually on Saturday, there's not only like Hall of Fame, which is obviously something to consider, but there's also an ROH and New Japan like.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The G1 Supercard, and I think that'd be awesome to go to. It's at Madison Square Garden.
They sold out the tickets in like 20 minutes, though.
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually got like an email about that, like a pre-sale sort of deal, but I didn't buy them at the time, which was a mistake. But
probably
there's still tickets available.
Okay.
Resold at a higher price, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well. They had to move NXT back to Friday because of the whole deal. They didn't want to compete with G1 Supercard.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved it to Friday, which I think is a good move on their part, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
That way, if let's say somebody wanted to go to G1 Supercard, but they also want to go to NXT to get the full deal, now they can do that.
Hey, another night of wrestling. Who's going to argue?
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Why choose?
I mean, that'll be nice. I think I'm going to SmackDown in March.
Oh, that's awesome, yeah.
I haven't been to a show since Raw back in July.
Mm-hmm.
That was Raw. It wasn't too bad though. It could have been worse.
Yeah, I remember after we went to Takeover Chicago 2, which was awesome, by the way. Yeah, that July I went to a house show at MSG.
Oh, not. Oh yeah, you told me about that. How was
Yeah,
that?
where the Undertaker appeared, and that was just
Did you go 1-on-1 with the Undertaker?
one-on-one with the Undertaker. Yeah, no, it was a tag team match.
Playa?
It was Reigns and Undertaker versus Owens and Corbin. Or no, it was a 6-man match, but either way, the Undertaker was there, and that's the main
That's
part.
just Undertaker.
It's Undertaker. That was pretty awesome being able to see that entrance live
Yeah,
and
that would be awesome.
obviously live and pretty special moment.
Try to look at this thing here. Well, we were going to talk about our matches of the year and what wrestlers of the year and stuff like that when Jared is not here. We could still do it, but
Yeah, if you want to.
what's your match of the year?
Oh, match of the year. Mm-hmm. Honestly, this is kind of a lot influenced by why it was by me just being there, but it would be Tommaso versus Ciampa at Takeover Chicago 2. A lot of because that was my first NXT show, and the crowd was just so insane, and the match was so good.
That was a lot of fun.
That was just so much fun. And yeah,
crazy show.
Match of the year.
Main roster, I'm gonna go either the TLC match, the female TLC match, or Becky and Charlotte from Evolution.
I agree.
And then for NXT, there's too much to choose from. There's too many matches to choose from. I say there was the ladder match. Have you seen the ladder match from Takeover New Orleans yet?
No, I haven't.
That's a great match. It's EC3, Lars, Adam Cole, Velveteen, Ricochet, and Killian Dane. It was for the inaugural NXT UK, or not NXT UK, NXT North American Championship match.
Yeah, I really need to keep up on NXT more. I've been watching a lot more of it lately, and it's awesome.
Right. Hunter, my buddy Hunter, is watching my live stream video, so shout out to him.
Yay.
My coworker. I gotta go. My other two favorite matches on NXT were probably the tag title match with Lorcan and Birch and Undisputed Era. We were there for that. And then Gargano and Ciampa for sure. Any of their matches could fit in there.
Yeah, also another one to note from TakeOver Chicago 2 was Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream.
That was a good one. That was a good match. Yeah, we were talking about that match. We were talking about the tag title match, like a match after. I was like, oh my god, that match was amazing. And then watching it back, it's just like, oh my gosh, that match was good.
Yeah, that's definitely, really, gosh, yeah, that NXT show is just jam-packed, as it usually is, with just incredible matches. But yeah, I would give it to Gargano Ciampa, just because, like, Ciampa's just, like, such a true heel, and he's just, like, so good at his
Ciampa is the best heel.
Making you invest in him, and just, like, the way that they, like, played that match out, or have, like, played their matches out, like, with Gargano just like struggling, and then finally Ciampa like hits him on like bare wood or like yeah, I mean it's just like with a surprise DDT to end it, like it's just crazy.
Okay, what's next to talk about? Wrestlers of the year. Let's go with that. Who's your wrestler of the year?
I mean, the obvious choice is Becky Lynch.
I think in the last few months, for sure, it's been Becky Lynch. Like, there's no question on whoever's like the best right now. It's definitely her. Pure wrestling, out of the males, I'd probably go with just AJ Styles because there's nobody else that's like as consistent as he is. Or Seth Rollins because they're both the most consistent wrestlers. Like either of those guys can have a good match with like a broom, man.
Yeah, more or less.
Like Seth Rollins got a good match out of Shinsuke. I love Shinsuke, but he hasn't had the best matches since he's gone up to main roster. Unfortunately, like the AJ Styles match was a letdown. Their second match was progressively throughout their matches. They had like four. They got better and better, and then the one at Money in the Bank was probably their best one. It was a really good match, but it just wasn't as good as what was advertised, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's nowhere near as good as their match from New Japan.
Right.
Nowhere near as good, but it was still good. But it was like a major letdown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
But
like AJ's always going to put on something impressive. I mean, Champa, as I said, I think has done like excellent stuff, but of course he's not on main roster. But
right,
you know, Champa, Adam Cole, love me some Adam Cole,
hey,
baby. I gotta give it to Daniel Bryan just because I'm a Daniel Bryan mark.
I mean, I am too. I probably think Daniel Bryan's right up there for wrestler of the year. I think his heel work now is actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was better than I think anybody thought it was going to be. Like Jared, Jared was there live when he won the title, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
it was in St. Louis, and Daniel Bryan won the title. I was like, dude, you're not. Why aren't you marking out for Daniel Bryan winning the title? It was we were watching it live. We were watching it, and we were marking the hell out because it's Daniel Bryan.
Absolutely.
You don't like not mark out for Daniel Bryan, whether it's a heel turn or not.
Mm-hmm.
You have to mark out for him.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was some crazy, crazy stuff. And then going back to Shinsuke, then Seth Rollins comes around and has his excellent match with Shinsuke at Survivor Series. Best Shinsuke match to date on main roster, of course. Okay. Heel of the year, we're gonna go with Ciampa for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Ambrose could be right up there with this, but his work in the last number of weeks has not been good.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the whole gas mask gimmick and the infection or whatever the
Ever since Dean said the stuff about Roman and everybody got offended over that, the basically all of the momentum that Seth and Dean had, like in their feud, just fell apart.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously heel turn of the year. Yeah, that was
heel turn of the year for sure. It goes to Dean Ambrose, no question. But heel of the year, definitely Ciampa.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Daniel Bryan would have been heel a few months longer, I would say he's right up there. But there's no question it's Ciampa.
Right.
Are there any real baby faces in WWE anymore?
I guess Becky Lynch is a tweener.
Well, Becky Lynch is also heel too, so I mean, Becky Lynch would be right up there in the heel talk, because when she turned heel, that's really when she got white hot.
Right.
Like I remember at the time at SummerSlam, like they had the match of the night. It was and even when you get Carmella to a match of the night, that's something. But then the heel turn at the time, I think we all did not like the heel turn.
Definitely.
Because she was like the top baby face on SmackDown, I think, at that point. But then when they turned her heel, nobody knew that it was going to be that good.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a similar thing with like Asuka winning the belt. It's like it's something that will hold Becky Lynch back, but in fact, it may propel her further.
I think what they're going to do is they may have Becky win the Rumble.
I agree.
And then maybe face Ronda at Mania. And I think that I would love to see that because they almost had that at Survivor Series, and then Nia Jax came along.
Yeah, so you could have Asuka versus Flair and Rousey.
Hey, on the bright side for that, we wouldn't have gotten Daniel Bryan as champion if not for Nia Jax breaking Becky Lynch's nose. Because they're like, uh-oh, our main match on the show, Ronda and Becky's done. Let's give Daniel Bryan the title and do Daniel Bryan Brock Lesnar. It's basically what happened. So I'm not at this point. I'm not mad. I was like, hey, do we get Daniel Bryan as champion? So I don't know. But I don't know. Are there any baby faces to talk about?
I mean, I guess AJ Styles.
AJ Styles is a good one. Like he's Always consistent, but I don't really see him as a legit babyface. You know what I mean?
I've always liked him more as a heel, actually.
Ray's a good babyface, of course, because it's Rey Mysterio.
Everybody loves Rey Mysterio.
Can't think of a genuine babyface that has been crazy. Who do you think is the breakout star of the year?
Becky Lynch.
I mean, I would go. You can go either Becky Lynch, Velveteen Dream. You can go any of them. Becky Lynch probably is the big one. Is probably the big one, but I think Velveteen Dream's definitely broken out this year. Well, last year he had the match with Aleister Black. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Very good match.
Yeah.
But then this year he got even better.
And I mean, somebody else to consider for break, and not fully, I guess, broken out yet, but definitely on the way, is Drew McIntyre.
Oh, for sure. Drew McIntyre. That's our boy.
Absolutely. We've liked him since day one.
We've liked him since the days of the days before 3MB. So
absolutely,
we stuck through it through thick and thin with Drew McIntyre, and now he's breaking out, and he is probably the best thing about Raw.
Yeah,
you can say Elias is another big breakout star this year. There's been a lot of breakout stars. Did you watch Seth Rollins and Elias from Money in the Bank?
No, I didn't.
One of my favorite matches of the year. Probably because I was there. But yeah, Seth Rollins got an amazing match got a great match out of Elias at Money in the Bank. That was my match of the night. Well, Braun, you could say Braun, but I feel like they've really dropped the ball with Braun recently.
I wish he had the title.
He should win the title at some point. Like, it just needs to happen. Speaking of the Universal title, hey, Kevin Owens is coming back soon.
Oh, really?
So excited. Sami Zayn's coming back soon too, because they aired vignettes for them on Raw. So the hype for that's real. That's cool. Because they've been sorely missed on Raw.
Well, do you think they'll return heels as the thing, or like return as a team?
I'd like them to, but Kevin Owens, either way, them as single stars or tag team, they're still good either way. So
yeah,
I think they need to be in the world title picture, but I don't know if they're going to do that. Because they were in the WWE title picture on SmackDown for just a little bit, but other than that, they haven't really done a lot ever since Kevin Owens lost the Universal Championship to Goldberg.
Yikes.
Okay, moving on. I don't know. Who do you think's the worst of the year?
The worst of the year?
The worst of the year. I can't think of anybody.
I mean, not necessarily a reflection on the wrestler, but just the booking, Baron Corbin.
You could make an argument for that. Baron Corbin's up there. Gotta think who else this year is just not good in terms of booking and everything. I can't think of anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I guess they've gotten better with not making not super bad wrestlers wrestling, but
yes, that's the thing. I mean, there's pretty much like a baseline of talent, I guess.
Yeah, there's no ultra bad person this year.
I mean, in like previous years, there have been like standouts.
Yeah, there's been plenty of standout wrestlers that have been awful in certain years, but I can't think of anybody for this year. At least not off the top of my head. Jinder Mahal?
You could say. I mean,
the question is, what happened to Jinder Mahal?
Yeah, I was about to say. I mean, they've kind of like dropped the ball booking wise with him.
Like, I am not a Jinder Mahal fan, but they have screwed him up big time.
Yeah, because I mean, even if he's not your WWE or your Universal Champion, I mean, it's mid card is
mid card at best. Like, yeah, I wasn't a fan of Jinder Mahal as champion, but I didn't want him to get completely buried. Like, Jesus.
Because I mean that also makes the WWE Championship look bad in some ways. Just I mean, kind of happened to the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, it's really in the latter years of its history on SmackDown, with just kind of not the strongest champions and people who aren't booked strongly as
Let's,
champions.
let's just keep it to account that in 2010, Jack Swagger was a world champion and Drew McIntyre wasn't. So, yeah, let's just keep it that.
Yep. The good old days.
That was one reason why I hated Jack Swagger. Like, I hated when he was in WWE. I hated him so much because one reason was because of because Drew McIntyre was supposed to win Money in the Bank back in 2010.
Right.
And then at the last minute, they're like, hey, let's give it to Jack Swagger. And then I don't know. That was one reason I always didn't like Jack Swagger. I mean, I have respect for him now because he's doing some good stuff now, like at Lucha Underground and everything like that.
I saw that.
Yeah, was not a big fan of WWE. But he can do whatever he wants. I'll respect him for that.
Yeah, and he's a good overall wrestler too.
Oh yeah, of course he is. He just wasn't that interesting in WWE. Well,
right.
2013, before he got busted for the pot, he was good then, but like that was the one time he was like really good, was during that little stint there with Zeb Coulter. That was some good stuff. Up until he got busted for weed, and then after that it fell downhill.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So that's kind of on his part, but let me think. I was gonna say something I forgot. Got anything?
Moment of
what?
Moment of the year.
Did you watch that segment with Ronda and Becky invading invading Raw?
Oh yeah,
that was the segment of the year for sure. That segment was probably Raw's segment of the year. I can't really think of the SmackDown segment that was super, super good.
Right?
Like standout, because SmackDown's usually consistently good, but there's not really like a standout thing usually. Yeah,
I agree with that. It's more of just kind of a consistently good show rather than just some shocking moment,
right.
Coming up. Well, unless you count Daniel Bryan winning the title.
That's true, yeah.
Which I absolutely would. But actually I would kind of go with an unorthodox pick. I would say actually it's not really like a segment kinda, but like John Cena and Undertaker at WrestleMania. Just because there was so much hype around like whether Undertaker, I mean, we all kind of knew that Undertaker was going to appear, but just like the moment before that, you're like, oh my gosh, we're getting John Cena versus the Undertaker.
That was the best when John Cena was like in the crowd and then the referee came out. I was like, hey, yo, Undertaker's backstage, and he was just running back.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
That was cool, just to see them in the same ring at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Okay, worst segment of the year. It's no question. Have you seen the segment I'm about to talk about? Bobby Lashley and his sisters.
Oh no, I haven't.
It's like the segment where Sami Zayn is out there and he's got like 3 dudes dressed in drag saying that they're Bobby Lashley's sisters. Did you ever see anything out of that storyline?
No, it doesn't seem like
be thankful that you didn't, because it was really bad.
Yeah.
Like this, did you see the "This Is Your Life" from last year?
I was about to mention that actually.
It was this year's "This Is Your Life," this year's Old Day. Gotta think of some other really bad segments.
Suffering Succotash Son.
Yeah, it's up there with those. It was really bad. You should. I thought it was so bad that it was funny. It was still terrible. Like, I didn't cringe as much, but because I was just laughing the whole time and how dumb it was. But like, "This Is Your Life" made me cringe.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and also can't forget Magic Beanstalk with the Big Show.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta take this thing off.
And a real older one, Michael Cole getting doused in barbecue sauce.
Okay, I remember that. When John Cena faced Michael Cole that one time. Remember when Tensai was a thing?
I do remember. Then Tons of Funk came around.
That was the best.
Truly magic.
Tons Funk was the greatest tag team in wrestling history. Like screw the Four Horsemen, screw the Shield, screw the Undisputed Era. That Tons of Funk was the best.
Absolutely. DX got them in WO.
I think the most. Who do you think's the most underrated kind of performer of the year?
Underrated. I mean, judging by crowd reaction, Drew McIntyre, because like I pretty silent when he walks out, but I don't know why. Like I love.
I'm not gonna say Drew McIntyre's underrated, but I feel like they're slowly building up his push because he's been protected ever since he came back. So I think they're protecting him really well. Now, if this was 2012, I would say yes, Drew McIntyre's underrated, but yeah, I would go. Bray Wyatt could be one. Rusev is definitely the big one.
And actually, somebody who I think is kind of, I don't really think about is actually like Cesaro. But if you
Cesaro's like, here's the thing that most underrated award should just be renamed the Cesaro Award because he's like the most underrated person like every year.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to like, I don't know, maybe it was like 2015 with like, he's doing like the U.S. Open Challenge, just tons of cool stuff. And there was like Cesaro's section.
Yeah, he was pretty big back in 2015. He was pretty good at that point.
And another person consistently underrated is Ziggler. I mean, Ziggler always puts on.
Ziggler did some good stuff this year. Like he had the Intercontinental title for a while. He had the pairing with McIntyre. Some good stuff. Definitely a much better year for him this year than the last year or two.
Well, there were rumors he was going to quit and all that.
Yeah, those rumors seem to come up like all the time at this point, and then they don't happen.
Yeah,
like, there was the big thing back in like 2016 when he was facing The Miz for the Intercontinental title.
I remember that.
And Ziggler, if he would have lost, he would have left. But there were big rumors about him leaving at that point. Then he won the Intercontinental title, thankfully. In a great match.
And we got some more solid Dolph Ziggler performances afterward.
Well, what do you expect? It's Dolph Ziggler. His matches with Seth Rollins this year were pretty good.
I agree.
Their match at, I don't know, the only one that was like not as great was the Extreme Rules one, but that was still a great match. The 30-minute. Did you watch the 30-minute Iron Man?
No, I didn't actually.
The crowd kind of ruined that one. In the Royal Rumble when they do like the countdown?
Yeah.
They were doing that during that match. Every 60 seconds they were doing that. And they were counting down when it got to like the 10-second mark of each minute. Yeah, they went a little too far with that.
Absolutely.
What do you think's the best tag team of the year?
Undisputed Era.
Eeny, meeny, miny, Undisputed Era. Next.
Yeah.
There's nobody else really that competes with them for tag team of the year.
No, not really. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think.
I don't know. The Usos and the New Day and the Bar and all of them, they're all consistently good on SmackDown. But Bludgeon Brothers had a pretty decent year until I forget which Bludgeon Brother got hurt. But they were doing pretty good up until that point. Undisputed Era has been like the one really consistent tag team all year, and I'm going to go with them as the best one.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I can't really.
We don't even have to say female wrestler of the year. That's Becky Lynch, no question.
For the fifth time.
For the fifth time. Who do you think's the worst female of the year? Who do you think's like the worst female in general?
This is just personal bias, but I don't really like Nia Jax's work.
I think that Nia Jax probably is, but I don't know. She's up there. I would say she's probably one of them. What's amazing is that if you would have asked us 4 years ago, we would have said somebody like an Eva Marie or a Cameron or what have you. But their female roster's gotten a lot better.
Definitely, yeah.
There's not a lot of easy choices for worst female of the year anymore like there were back in the day.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it really has progressed.
I think Carmella might be up there, but I'm just not a big Carmella fan. But I'm not gonna say she's the worst because she's not. She's not the worst. But
Now, when you're talking about Tag Team of the Year, the Fabulous Truth.
how could we forget that? Biggest snub of the year was them for sure. I don't know what else has gone on this year that's been super good.
Probably a lot of NXT stuff.
We've gotten some really good quality matches this year for sure. Just Raw and SmackDown have just been inconsistent. Well, SmackDown isn't too bad. Raw's just been inconsistent with booking that it kind of ruins like when there's ever a good match.
Definitely, and there's a lot to just kind of sit through until you get to a good match.
That's right.
That's why I just don't really watch it anymore. I just can't get it for that long.
Let's hope it gets better. It looks like it's going to get better soon.
Goes back to the question: will there be a
This is why you should have not booked just one guy at the top. Nothing against Roman Reigns, but you know, they should have like set like. This is definitely going to teach WWE something. Like they're gonna, I guess it's taught them that that you shouldn't build a company around one guy.
Yeah, I
because
mean,
that guy goes down with something very serious, and that's what happened with Roman this year.
Yeah, I mean, because I think like the Attitude Era, of course, like Steve Austin was number one, but you have like a guy like Rock is this very easy to fill.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. We were talking about when Steve Austin got injured in 2009, or not 2009, 1999. He was out for when he was out for a year, and The Rock kind of like there were people right behind him to take the spot, and 2000 was an even better year for WWE than 1999 was. Because they had like The Rock and Triple H and Mick Foley, Chris Jericho, what have you. Kurt Angle was another one. Like they built these top stars. They didn't just have one guy.
Absolutely.
Like they do with Roman Reigns, which is why they should have built up like a Braun Strowman or Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre. They should. Who do you think is going to win the Rumble? Like the men's Rumble?
So, of course, on women's, we've already said, yeah, Becky Lynch. But men's, I think... Well, I think a big part of that is contingent on whether Strowman or Lesnar wins the title at Royal Rumble. Because if Lesnar wins, I would say probably Rollins.
My pick to win the Rumble is definitely Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I would put Rollins overall. I mean, there's also McIntyre. And there's also, The Rock, if he comes back for a part-time deal against Lesnar, but who knows?
You see, my problem with bringing back part-timers is they bring, like, my main problem with just bringing back in general, they don't really get any, like, original matches out of it. Like, we've seen Brock and Rock before. We've seen... My problem with bringing Shawn Michaels back was, having them face the Brothers of Destruction. Like, that's my main problem with it. Like, why not bring Shawn Michaels to face somebody like a Daniel Bryan or an AJ Styles or hell, even an Adam Cole? Like, have them face one of them instead of just having the same matches we've seen over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that something like that happens at WrestleMania, like Michaels versus AJ, Michaels versus Bryan, or something like even Michaels versus Rollins would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm cool with them bringing back part-timers if they're gonna come back and face and bring up some new matches or something, not just the same stuff we've seen over and over again.
Yeah, reminds me actually, Triple H versus Batista. Well, I mean, Triple H was injured, but that's rumored for WrestleMania, or an Evolution triple threat or something of the like.
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, bring back Batista to face somebody new. Like, who do you have a good match against?
He could have one against Strowman. I mean,
Batista versus Braun. Batista versus even Batista versus Lars Sullivan would be good.
Yeah,
that'd be something. I mean, I'm not a big Lars Sullivan fan, but I would pay to see that.
Batista versus Samoa Joe. I mean, maybe
that'd be cool. The match I want to see at WrestleMania actually is John Cena versus Samoa Joe.
Oh, really? Is that rumored?
That's what I wanted. That was supposed to be the match last year, and then Samoa Joe got hurt right before Mania.
That would have been cool.
That would have been awesome. That's one of the matches I've been looking forward to for years.
Yeah, another kind of underrated guy, in my opinion, Samoa Joe. I don't know. He just.
That's another underrated one. He should have. I think he should have won the WWE title from Dana, or not from Dana Bryan, from AJ Styles. But, whatever.
Maybe
he still got some good matches out of it. Samoa Joe's still a somewhat big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the fact he hasn't won a title yet, like he should at least go for the U.S. title.
Yeah, I mean that could be a cool deal.
Bring some prestige back into that thing.
Yeah, I mean that could be a cool deal to do with Rusev.
Samoa Joe versus Rusev. There we go.
Yeah, as a transition champion to put it on Samoa Joe. So,
like hell, do John Cena versus Samoa Joe for the U.S. title at WrestleMania. That would be cool.
That would be, and talk about prestige.
Like we talk about the prestige of the U.S. title, John Cena's right there. He can help bring it back like he did a couple years back.
Absolutely, yeah.
Another problem I heard somebody talking about WWE was how many open challenges they've been doing. Like they did one this past week on Raw, or a couple weeks ago on Raw with the Intercontinental title. Then they did one on NXT with the North American title. Raw with the women's title. Bunch of other open challenges going on.
So I'm actually
like they've been kind of overdoing it. Like some people argument that they've been overdoing it.
Maybe.
I'm okay with it as long as they like they did Dean Ambrose versus Tyler Breeze, and coincidentally they also did Ricochet and Tyler Breeze. But as long as they bring in somebody new, somebody fresh, and somebody you wouldn't expect to fight for the title, like when they had Tyler Breeze fight for both titles, that was super cool.
Yeah,
because you don't expect to see somebody like him fighting for the championship. But if they're going to just bring out like Kane or whoever, Jinder Mahal, to come out and fight for these titles, then out there.
Right. Yeah. The Tyler Breeze I thought was excellent to put in that. Like, Tyler Breeze. Speaking of underrated,
Tyler Breeze has always been underrated. He probably always will be underrated. But I kind of like seeing him doing the open challenge stuff. I kind of hope he goes back to NXT.
Me too.
Because they were like popping for him. It was crazy. They're glad to see him back. I was glad to see him on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Let's put my title back. Yeah, he's a singles competitor until Fandango comes back. So, like, why not have him? Because Fandango got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why not have a Tyler Breeze like mini NXT run for a couple months?
Absolutely.
Fandango gets healthy and then bring him back to Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Or hell, bring them to NXT. Both of them. Why not?
Sure.
I mean, I'd pay to see that Undisputed Era versus the Fashion Police, best match of the year. Knowing NXT, they would make that into a match of the year.
They would.
Gotta think of what else has been going on that's been crazy this year. What do you think of Shayna Baszler?
Oh, I mean, she's not my favorite, but she's good. I mean,
that's how I feel when I first saw her. Like last year, the Mae Young Classic, I thought she wasn't very good. I feel like she's gotten a lot better. She's probably a competitor for Most Improved. She's gotten a lot better. I'm just not a big fan. Like, I don't really see the appeal of it. But, well, I shouldn't say that. Might take that back. I see why people like her. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's like definitely somebody who will flourish in WWE just because obviously very marketable with the MMA background, with Fox's push for kind of a more sports-like feel, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got that going on. It's not really much in NXT in the women's division coming up other than Bianca Belair is going to be Shayna's next opponent.
Bianca Belair is cool. And Dakota one day, I swear.
Of course. I hope so. She's injured right now, apparently. Apparently she's out. I'm not sure what I think she tore her ACL or something.
Oh, wow. She was just competing on NXT like last week, was it, I think?
It was a couple weeks ago. But she got hurt in a tag match on a house show.
Oh, wow. That's terrible.
I think nobody's really confirmed it, but it's like apparent that she got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there hasn't really been anything that's come out about it, but the belief is that she tore her ACL, which is unfortunate.
That is very, yeah.
So
Well,
she's
maybe
probably
next.
going to be out anywhere from 6 months to 10 months. So there goes her push.
Well, let's have a return storyline. Take the NXT Women's
Return
title. Why not?
storyline. Take the women's title from Shayna Baszler. That's what they should have done at Brooklyn this year.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool. But on to... Did you see that they're bringing in a women's tag title?
I did.
I've actually been waiting for them to do that for a while. I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got an instant match, right, with Nia and Tamina versus Sasha and Bailey.
Bailey and Sasha should be first Raw women or Raw tag champs or women's tag champs.
I agree with that.
Like, there's nobody else. Like, maybe Riot Squad and eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Give me just a second. I gotta restart that. Okay, I had to change it. It was about to up. Like, computer was about to update. I was like, no, not yet, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in a little bit. But yeah, that's gonna be big. John Cena's coming back in a couple weeks too, or he's coming back next week.
Should be interesting to see.
That should be pretty good. I'm pretty excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
What else has been going on? What else is big in WWE right now? I can't think of anything.
Yeah. I think I have to go, but
Oh, are you gonna head out?
Yeah, I think we covered a lot though.
We
Always
did.
good to have Bruber's.
It's good to have it back again. When can you be back?
Whenever, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty free, so.
Okay, we can probably do one maybe next week. It'll probably have to be next Monday or Tuesday.
That sounds good.
Okay. We hope you guys enjoyed the comeback of Bruber's podcast. I think there's going to be more to come since I got the new mic and everything. I think we're going to have a few more to come. If not, we're going to start a new one. Jared, I know Jared's wanting to start a new podcast on his channel. So we could probably do that. If you guys want to continue doing this Bruber's podcast along with Jared and everybody, then I'm down for it. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next one. You know, comment, thumbs up, subscribe, you know, do everything you guys need to. Thank you guys for everything in 2018. It's been a good year. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys.